So Sylvia's joined us, and you've brought a sign to show us what's going on in Detroit. You can hold it up. It is wrong. Mayor Dugan's favored few millionaire and billionaire developer buddies got billions at the expense of Detroit school kids and library patrons. So you're talking about longtime Mayor Mike Dugan, who I hear rumors might be running for governor. But tell us about this, because it sure seems like gentrification is out of control here.
Yeah, we have a problem in this city. We need people to be more educated when they're voting for these people. There's so much trickery going on with the media as well, being used to mislead and misfeed our people. So while they believe in television that keeps telling them to vote against their interests, this is what we get. We get billionaires, developers coming into this city, having playgrounds and stadiums and concert venues and all kind of developments of apartments and luxury lofts that the citizens can't even afford to visit, let alone move in and pay the rent. And so by them giving tax captures to these billionaires, they're not giving back, and they're stealing. Well, I don't know if you could say stealing, because they said it's legal, but while they're taking the taxes away from our school system, our communities where people need housing, health care, repairs on their homes, our children need better resources for education purposes, not getting it. It just doesn't make any sense. But again, because
We've
people...
been overtaxed. That comes from that too. The citizens in Detroit who own homes, we've been overtaxed $600 million. And we've only did the survey for the homes that were our single family homes. Detroit is also known for duplexes, 2-family and 4-family flats, and apartment buildings. So when we did the research, we only did single family homes. That was $600 million being overtaxed. I know people who were overtaxed by $10,000 to $15,000. We went and we asked the city of Detroit, could we get a refund? They said no. We said, okay, well, can we get a credit every so many years in order to repay us back our money? Duggan said no. So we went to the tribunal place in Lansing. I haven't heard anything back from that, so maybe somebody else can give an update, but we haven't received one penny back. And the libraries, we have, you need the libraries in your community, because a lot of people don't have enough money to use the internet. So that's a misconnect right there. So they're not getting the information that they need. But like Sylvia said, we have a person here in the city of Detroit who we know, Mike Duggan, who ran in a write-in. That's never, in a city at that time was over 600 and 700 and some thousand people that they said wrote his name incorrectly. Who would? That's uncalled for. And when you run a...
So he did a write-in campaign for mayor.
Yes, and won, they said. So we have, when we did the research on that, we hired experts. We hired 2 handwriting experts. And they came to the conclusion that a lot of the handwritings were in the same handwriting. But then they said, well, some people can write in for other people.
Interesting.
Isn't that?
And the spelling wasn't always correct, but yet the ballot still went through. But what people need to understand about these tax captures...
When you say tax captures, he's giving these massive tax breaks to these developers, so basically free goodies, yet your taxes are going up in large part to pay for their development that you guys can't afford.
That's correct.
And so-called community development benefits hasn't benefited the people at all. That's a real joke, a real bad joke. The land value tax, we found out it's a scam. The tax on rain that you pay for monthly, we found out that was another scam.
What's your thoughts on, I mean, Is it just he's the wrong type of Democrat, or, you know, we need to rethink this whole thing?
We
'Cause
need to
we're
rethink
seeing
this whole thing.
We're seeing this
That's
in a
me.
lot of cities, Democratic politicians, Republican politicians. It's like the corporations own city government.
Both of them.
Right. So I think I'm rethinking because, I mean, in the last 20 years, I haven't gotten anything here in the city of Detroit from Democrats.
Wow.
The election's been stole, the school's been stole, the water been stole. You
And
know.
what's the role you feel? Because obviously Governor Whitmer was rumored for 5 minutes when the whole Biden thing was going on, that maybe she would be the Democrat, the next Democratic nominee. Do you think she's doing enough? Because Detroit's a
No.
major city here.
No, she's
And
not.
from what I could tell, she's fairly chummy with the mayor.
Exactly. I think they all in cahoots, because when you look at it, the state was the ones that came down and said that we were a bankrupt city. Well, while we were bankrupt, these consultants was making, what, $1,000 an hour? And we looked up, and the poor
Whitmer is not really
retirees were
a
wrapped.
Democrat. Her father is the CEO of Blue Cross Blue Shield, who was a Republican.
Right.
If my husband is Republican and I tell him I'm voting Democrat, he might cut off my meal, right?
Well, that's true. Her father was the
Yes.
longtime CEO of Blue Cross Blue Shield. She got a lot of money from Blue Cross Blue Shield, and she gets a lot of great media attention. But from what I could tell, the Flint water crisis is still a
Oh,
disaster.
don't start, my friend. I must have
I don't know if you know,
I know Eric Mays. Eric Mays was my ride or die. Everything he did, me and Sylvia called him his fan club. You know, because he fought until the day he died
Yes, he did.
for Flint, and they
Yes, he
still
did.
don't have clean water.
Yeah.
And when I talk about Eric, it brings tears to my eyes because they cut him off for 3 months, and in those 3 months, that's when he died.
Yeah.
Because he was coming back.
And he was the one politician in Flint really fighting, particularly to expose the financial fraud that caused this,
Yes.
to fight for justice. The media says the water's fine. The government says the water's fine. I'm there all the time.
Barack said the water was fine.
Every time I think about that, you can look on YouTube, you can see me. I'm saying, don't drink the water. He got up there, and he didn't really drink it. I'm gonna tell you how I played. Because at first, he was like, I noticed when they were setting it up, I'm like, they ain't putting no water, bottled water on the podium, because usually they do that
Yeah.
in a setting. So when I didn't see that, I said, okay. So then Barack come out, and he says, speeching, and he talking and everything. And so he coughed. I'm like, this is something funny going on here. And then I said, now I'm listening to him speak, and then he did it again. I said, this is some trickery. Then he coughed, and he was like, where's the water at? I need some water. Mind you, I knew they didn't have none. So they had to scramble around. It took them a minute. Because I don't know if they was even concerned, because they knew they couldn't good. They brought a glass with some water in it. And I was like, don't drink that water. And he drank one sip. But that was to give them the okay to drink the water. You can't do that. That's not right. And I worked with a young lady that come to Detroit to canvass with us. And she said, Miss Lori, we have to drink the water now. She said, we have to bathe in it. What else are we going to do? You know, and it's sad.
And I'll say the governor, when she ran on reopening the water stations that Snyder had shut down.
Correct.
Didn't happen.
No, it didn't, and it's not going to happen. And you have to know, if the Flint River was corroding the engines
GM.
for GM, that you can't drink that water. That's like us going to River Rouge and getting the water and taking off from Detroit. How could you do that?
And I just released a book in August about the cover-up, and I found that Governor Snyder, he was helping to cover up the deadly Legionnaires outbreak.
Oh, of course.
16 months before
Of course.
he told
yes.
the public, and the Attorney General currently only charged him with a misdemeanor. So.
No, did they even charge him? I think they dropped all the charges or whatever.
Eventually,
you know,
yeah.
So he got off scot-free and you don't know how many people passed from that. You
I
know,
think the
what
number's
Eric
in the
passed from,
thousands.
we don't know.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He had to still drink the water too.
Well, every time I go there, you find out people are dying of cancers, liver problems,
Mm-hmm.
kidney problems. And by the way, your large, high bill in Detroit, part of that's to pay for that new water system they created.
Correct.
So-
So that's why we have the highest water bills, I think, in the country. because, and then you should know also that we do sit on the World Water Board here, Detroit. So, I mean, what can that one person do? It's so hurtful for what they're doing to us in the city of Detroit. I'm not going anywhere. And when I leave, I'm like Eric. He left. He said when he died from Flint. When I die, I will be from the city of Detroit unless I'm somewhere else and they bring me back.
Now, let me ask you, obviously, the media, well, first off, I should say, I don't hear the media talking about this.
No.
I don't hear the media criticizing the gentrification, these tax scams. The media generally talks about this development in pretty positive terms, correct?
Correct, and that's why people need to know about the Detroiters for Tax Justice. You need to know about this group and come to the meetings and get aware of what they're doing to you. You're being screwed with your own tax monies. You're being screwed with your own votes because they're using media with the hype on misleading and misfeeding our people.